Hi, I'm your host, Marlo Lemon, and you're listening to Wild Voice, the podcast where I take this voice of mine and share my wild journey with you. Being widowed at 34 with a 15-month-old, most would see as life ending. And instead, I alchemized it and put life back together, and it became more beautiful and fulfilling than I could have ever imagined. Through this life shift of mine, I realized who I am and what I'm here to do. I'm an intuitive energy healer, and sharing how I view the world is how I help you upgrade your life and alchemize your journey into magic. From day one, I wanted to share my journey, call it intuition, but I knew it was going to do more good out in the world than keeping it to myself. So when I say I've mastered life, that doesn't mean I'm perfect or that life is. I mean, I've mastered the concept of life, and I want to share that with you. Today's episode, we are going to play with intuition and what it even is, why it matters, and how you can start accessing it yourself or practicing if you already know what it is. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how to start playing with it. The biggest thing and the biggest misconception is that only certain people have it. And then there's this big space of no one really knowing how to access it, what questions to ask, and how to hear the responses or feel them. So we'll start with, what is intuition? It's pretty much just our inner guiding post, and it comes from a heart space, and it feels expansive, and depending on the person, we pick up on it differently and access it in many different ways. Now, if you've gotten this far in the podcast, you have heard me talk a lot about intuition. You've even heard other guests talk about intuition. So it's very specific to the person. And ultimately, it's kind of your, I keep saying guiding post, but kind of like your handbook on how to get through life in the most complete, efficient, amazing way. So how to start? The best way is to learn how it feels in your body. That's the toughest though, because it's kind of like hearing a pin drop in a heavy metal concert. It takes practice to get there and implement it. So we're going to start with how to know what a yes feels like and what a no feels like. And the reason why it's most important to get that reading and that feeling from your body and learn what that feels like is because there are going to be moments that you don't have your special crystal, or you don't have your pendulum, or you don't have other access to other things, but you always have you. So learning how your body feels in those moments is going to be the most empowering. So once we know what a yes and no feels like, it's really important to get clear on how to ask the questions. Just like when we're telling someone or asking someone a question, if our question is kind of fuzzy and confusing, the person doesn't know how to answer it. Our intuition is the same. So this is very important. There is a big difference between leaving a question open-ended and asking something very specific and almost like a statement to get a yes or no answer. This is something I'm teaching Nash right now. And it's a little tough because it's a big concept. And once we understand it, it makes sense. But I'm practicing learning how to articulate it and the verbiage to use to help him understand. So for example, he'll ask a question and he'll say, I should eat. He'll say something about food. He's been doing a lot of that with food. Like he's really into sweets right now. And I'm trying to get him to understand his body and really grasp the concept of listening to his intuition and what feels right in foods and what he's craving and what's the difference between something he's craving and something his body really needs nourishment from. So with that, I'll tell him to ask his body about food, and he'll say, I can eat this donut. Now that's not terrible, but he'll also say, I can eat this donut, or I can eat the apple. So that's a really big question, right? Like, what do we tackle first? So we want to get really good at getting clear, decisive, almost statement-like questions. And this is to give us a very clear yes or no answer. And this is to help us get the most intuitive response and also to help us practice what that feeling feels like in our body. So, for example, there's a difference between what is my name? If I was asking my intuition, I get ready, you want to slow down your breathing, get calm and relaxed, feel grounded, and then say, what is my name? Well, there's a very difference between saying, I would pose the statement differently and say, my name is Marlo. And then I listen for a yes or no. And when I say listen, that can mean so many different things. A lot of people think they're going to hear a voice. Some people think they're going to feel it in their body. Some people get a smell. Like, these are things that are really fascinating about intuition. There are so many different ways we can pick up on things. It's about really getting laser focused and heightening our senses. Because you might be someone that smells something, and that's your yes. Maybe it's like a floral smell, and that's your yes. And a no is rosemary. Or I don't know, maybe you don't like the smell of rosemary and you smell that, and that's your no. So you don't have to be around those things to get those. Your body will pick up on what it's meant to. So we're getting very abstract with this conversation, but intuition is very abstract, so buckle up. But it's also very easy to spot once we know what to look for. So with that example, my name is Marlo. I feel a yes, because my name is Marlo. So practice that with your own name. So slow down your breathing, close your eyes, and say the statement. My name is blank. Notice what you feel in your body. Was it an open feeling? Was it high up on your body? Was it low? You notice tingling? Do you hear something specific, like a bird chirping? Do you notice when you're asking something that is a for sure yes? What you're doing is you're programming yourself to pick up on the things that are your yeses. So if you said that and then you hear a bird chirping out the window, well, maybe when you hear birds chirping, that's your sign of a yes. Or maybe when you did that, you smelt something. Maybe you smelt waffle cones. Okay. So that's your yes. So let's say you're walking down the street and you're thinking about something. You're like, I wonder if I should do that or not. All of a sudden you smell waffle cones. Okay. That's your yes. So what you're doing is you're just learning a new way to decode kind of your guiding posts and your guidebook and your how-to manual for your life. Something you're going to feel when you get, so my yes, I'll start there. So when I get a yes, I'll tell you what I feel in my body. It kind of feels like a butterfly feeling. It feels open and it feels high up on my body, like up in my chest. When I get a no for something, it feels more closed off, more restrictive, tight, and I feel it lower in my body, like kind of down, lower, like into my legs. Kind of like sometimes my no will feel like my stomach is dropping. So I want you to practice that. Practice asking things that you know are for sure yeses or for sure nos, and start just paying attention to what you notice. This is what we're talking about when we say intuition is something that you work at, something that you practice. This is why there's even a school that I went to and learned these things from and how to access it and practice it, because there is a method to it. There is a way to get more heightened and more aware. And if you're interested, and if you're hearing this podcast, there's a reason for you to be able to tap into that intuition. The people that are the most successful in this world, I'm talking about careers, families, anyone's life that you see, people that are extremely successful in the business world. They're all operating from intuition. The more that you research and learn about these people, you will notice the way and the concepts and the things that they do. There were a lot of people before that told them that wasn't possible, that told them that that's a ridiculous idea, that doesn't make sense. Anyone who has created something, created a life, created products, opportunities, experiences that are unlike anything else out there, that are the most successful, there's a bunch of people before them that told them that wasn't possible. But that's our brain talking, right? Because we can't grasp how that makes sense. And intuition doesn't make sense. So know that off the bat. If it doesn't make sense to you and you can't see how you got from A to B or A to Z, whatever, then it's your intuition. And I always tell people too, don't fly out of the gates and start using it for things like, should I leave my job today? Okay, let's pump the brakes. We're going to practice it first with things that are non-emotional, right? Like, I should brush my teeth right now. You get a yes or a no. Maybe you get a no because you're going to eat something that then you're most likely going to need to floss and brush your teeth afterwards. Okay? So ask yourself and play with this. It's kind of like a game, and it's really fascinating to see once all the things start clicking. Ask yourself things that you know are for sure yeses and for sure nos. And notice what you see, what you feel, what you hear, how your body feels. If it feels open and expansive, that is your intuition. If something, an idea, feels closed off and restricting, a lot of the times that's a no, or that's not your intuition guiding you. Intuition will always guide you in the most expansive direction, regardless of what you're going through and what you're doing. It will feel expansive. I kind of explained it to people. There would be times where I would feel like an elephant was standing on my chest. And the more that I led into my intuition, and the more I asked that, even though I was thinking I didn't know where this was going to take me, but the people that take risks and that jump and try new things in life get rewarded the most, right? Even if it doesn't turn out exactly how our mind thinks it should. So no, you will always be rewarded for working with your intuition and listening to it and practicing it. And even practicing it for the things that I tell people, get an intuitive hit. Like if you say, hey, I should eat, a donut right now. And I get a no. Okay, well, I'm still going to eat it because I want to. So then eat it. And then notice if you notice anything after that. Do you notice that it hurts your stomach? Do you notice that someone else brought you treats and now you can't eat those because you just had a donut? Or maybe you don't eat it and you see that play out how it was meant to. So even going against your intuition is practicing it and learning something new. So know that you can't mess this up. Just try and go with things that are non-emotional as you're practicing this and learning how to use it. It will be the most comfortable that way. Doesn't mean you won't still learn something, but it'll be the most comfortable. And to give you another tip for how to ask questions, this is the best way and the most clear, and you will get the most clear response because it is frustrating to ask a question and feel like your mind's going crazy trying to figure out what to pick up on. And most of the time we feel that way because it's the question that we're asking. So if you want to know if you should do something or should not do something, those words are very powerful. So this is how I would preface it. Let's use the example of, I should go to the gym today. Be very specific, because if I say I should go to the gym, I'm probably going to get a yes, because yes, in my lifetime, I probably would benefit from going to the gym. But really my question was, should I go to the gym before 10 a.m.? And that's my question. So I would pose it as a statement. And I would say, I should go to the gym before 10 a.m. Now, let's say I can't tell what I'm getting. I can't tell if it's a yes or a no. You can flip it and ask the reverse. And instead of saying not, I would say pass. I would say, I should pass on going to the gym before 10 a.m. And then see what you get. Because you might find that you hear that answer louder. So when you want to say, I should do something, use it in that sentence. I should, and be as specific as possible. And if you want to see if you should not do something, you would pose it as a statement, I should pass on blank, giving as much specifics as possible. Does that make sense? You guys are always welcome to message me with questions, email me, get a hold of me. But these are big concepts, but when we learn them and we can play with them, you will see it. I feel like people's brains are like exploding right now. So I'm not going to go too much more into it, but this is a lot for you to kind of hold on to and just play with and see what you get and just start to notice what you see around you and ask the same question day in and day out. Do that once a day. And just to start practice what that feeling feels like. And you'll notice once you start training your body to pick up on a yes and a no, you very quickly will ask yourself questions like, should I do this? Should I do that? I should send my kid to this school. I should buy this for myself. I should save this amount of money. And you'll get very quick responses and you can get more specific. And there's so much more we can play with intuition to get it like fine-tuned and very, very, very specific and kind of how to ask the following questions. But this is an amazing place to start. This in itself will be life-changing. Just understanding how to read your body and actually to know that everything that you ask and that you want to do or are curious about, your body already knows the answer. It is just learning about being in tune with it. It is here. Use it to your advantage. Your body, your mind, your soul already knows what to do. Already have someone who already knows the best answer for you. That's even more useful than asking someone else's outside opinion. So remember that. And I'm going to leave you with why is leading with our intuition important? Because our beliefs and programs are just things repeated to us over and over and over again. So that means they can be changed. And if they can be easily changed, that means they can be easily adapted. And we are all very individualized and for a very specific reason. There are no two people on this planet that are the same. I don't care if you came from the same family. I don't care if you're identical twins. Souls are very different. These outside bodies that we are in, these meat suits, are just to give our souls a space holder. So know that. So know something that is specifically perfect for you might look outrageous to somebody else. But that doesn't matter because they're not on the same journey as you. They don't have the same experiences as you. They don't have the same soul as you. And you are here for a very specific reason to do very specific things. So the sooner and easier we can get to aligning with our body and what it's trying to tell us through anything, the more effortless and amazing and fulfilling life can be. So something to take away is to know, get really good at asking the right questions and listening for the answer. To be honest, it's way easier and an effortless way to get exactly where we are meant to go in the least amount of time and in the most fulfilling way. Life is meant to be easier than we make it. And this is a tool that will 100% get you there. Thanks so much for being here. Please rate, like, share, and review so we can stay connected and continue this magical journey together.